Greetings, everybody. This is Mayana Ha Sofaret coming to you live, kinda, from Brooklyn. This is my first ever video production by myself. So, kind of bear with me. Hasofaret means the scribe. So, I'm a better writer than I am speaker. And so, if you catch me looking a little bit off screen, it's because I'm referencing my notes. There's about 14 pages of notes over there. And I'll be kind of reading from them from time to time. So, bear with me. Um, I want to talk to you about a matter of controversy erupting in the trenches. Of course, there are many. So, to be specific, the femininity movement. The matter of femininity, specifically black femininity, often finds itself on the proverbial table. It is then poked and prodded, dissected, and defined, usually by men, and most accurately by white men. But the brokers of this conclusion may not always be white men. That wouldn't be effective marketing. To appeal to the black community, you need to use black faces. You have to convince black people to peddle the poison into their own communities, corners, crooks, and crannies, into those spaces that their whiteness couldn't necessarily influence or access. Kind of like crack in the 80s. And so the biggest culprit of what has been termed misogyny are black men. But when this tool becomes ineffective, a good marketer will change his strategy and use someone that's going to appeal to the target demographic, into the black woman. Now, what can only be called this ideology's take on the fembot, the black feminine principle, is dispatched into spaces of black womanhood and reintroduce the concept, functioning simultaneously as a distributor and a model for practical application. In 1975, a movie called The Stepford Wives was released based off of a 1972 novel by the same name. It illustrated Stepford, Connecticut, a town where women were literally reprogrammed to match the egocentric needs and insecurities of their husbands. The 2004 remake reveals the masterminds behind their contemporary retelling as men from Microsoft, Disney, and AOL, to name a few. AOL was an internet powerhouse that was facing a lot of competition by upstart internet providers at that time. What this demonstrates, perhaps unintentionally, is that the driving force behind this concept is not nature, it's entertainment. Very often, women are shown how Disney movies have imprinted an expectation of limited female agency, the dependency on beauty and kindness, and a passive role in her own destiny. But men too are influenced by Disney. The Disney-esque expectation that women will sing with a chorus of blue jays when faced with adversity, that jealous female energy is the only cause of problems for the feminine principle, and that they, as men, only occupy spaces of safety and rescue. The authority and the ability to imagine themselves as saviors sets up the stage for a hypermasculinity that is ironically vulnerable, particularly to flattery. In books like Heart and Head by Dwight Hopkins and For My People by James Cone, the reality that black men don't experience this masculine identity in mixed masculine spaces is explored and understood as a major factor. Black men don't get their manhood interpreted vis-a-vis the European presence of manhood, leaving them to act out this concept in isolated spaces available only in the presence of black women. Enter wife school. A woman by the name of Ro is peddling femininity. After reading the package, you will find that the contents of her proposal are no different from any other misogynistic imagination of womanhood. Be quiet, wear lace, wear pearls, wear pink. Treat everything with the Y chromosome as if he is infallible. And use your body to please him. You have nothing to contribute to him intellectually or proactively. Most of these ingredients are the GMO rhetoric we have already heard that shamelessly shows its European roots. I have made it no secret that I am not invested in what happens outside of our Hebrew community as long as outsiders remain or perform their antics outside. They only become an issue for me when they ooze out of their lane and infiltrate Hebrew spaces. This is not the first time that I've heard of Ro. She was the subject of scrutiny by many Hebrew women because of her statements about Sandra Bland back in 2015. She was also already one of the go-to fembots of the men, of our Hebrew men. But she appeared in the middle of a surge of self-awareness among Hebrew women. They were experiencing the value of studying the Bible with their own eyes instead of accepting secondhand accounts and accompanying interpretations. They began to see that many of the things they had been taught were edited, abridged, and revised to fit into a procrucian narrative informed by masculine desires. Because of the climate of feminine self-awareness being so high, her reception among Israelite women, Hebrew women, was extremely low. Ro has nearly 5,000 followers. This doesn't mean that the cure is real. It means that the sickness is real, that the pain is real, that the need is real, and the opportunity to exploit them all is real. Not surprisingly, her following has a very high male presence. In an extraordinary moment of self-praise, she creates a meme that set herself beside the likes of Oprah Winfrey. And she asks her audience, why do you think I have more male followers or male supporters than Oprah? The answer is she has set out a siren song. The siren in folklore across cultures has differed in her appearance, but has always been a creature that lulled men in by sweetly and seductively calling to him, appealing to his weaknesses, and desired to be adored by the feminine principle. Our men are no different. They hear only that she is saying that manhood deserves respect and adoration, and that the woman, particularly the black woman, is at fault for not only their own problems, but for the problems that black men face as well. The men in her narratives are the victims, the unfortunate victims of cruel, sneaky, and rude women who want to be defective and broken. There are no factors that black women face other than their own hateful nature. Black women are not capable of valid disagreement. Black women are just angry for no reason. Black women wanting to shed the appearance of being undesirable, following the scent of masculine energy, crowding in the space at her feet into tumultuous waves of promise. This woman has men at her feet, liking everything she says and praising her. The response of the women is, I want that. I need to do what she is saying so that I can get what she is getting. The men are responding to her. It isn't important that what she says isn't rooted in anything substantial. It doesn't matter that she is blaming her. These women are willing to accept a self-auditing, a sort of factory reset, if it means that she can get a piece of that masculine affection that Facebook likes and comments afford, forgetting entirely that a factory reset does not fix the problem. It overrides the problem and does nothing to treat the factors that informed the user's choices that led to the need for the factory reset in the first place. Questions like, what was the user looking for? What misinformation made the user believe the site was safe? Why did the virus program that came with the computer fail? What attacked the program that was so strong it defeated the program that was put to defend it? We need to discern between those who support us and those who are seducing us. Telling women that femaleness means being malleable to any and all men is, in a word, absurd. And in other words, injurious, toxic, offensive, errant, and insulting. This is not femininity. It's misogyny. When the men gave us the same rhetoric, we were able to identify it. It came in a form we recognized. Changing the package doesn't change the content. It just changes your ability to recognize the product you knew to be poison. The men, our men, are enticed by the promise of submissiveness, the call for respecting them, the prospect of freedom in leadership. These are not unreasonable expectations, but they are not entitlements. These are the property of men who have married a woman they have demonstrated a sense of stability, protection, and affection for. These are part of a reciprocal package fashioned by two people. It is not a one-sided debt that women must pay. The women are drawn to the prospect of acceptance and having a man. The quality of that man is not an issue for all. All men are already good. It is you, the feminine principle, the black feminine principle, that is defective. She will help you accept taming and being put into timeout by a man who, according to her, has the ability to do this to you for anything he considers an infraction or disrespect. Bro tells black women to accept men that she herself rejects. She tells black women how to conform to European ideals she represents, reproduces, and maintains with her French Caribbean husband. Born in a two-parent household, given balanced nurturing and apparent financial security that he can reproduce. Of course, she tells you that getting such a man, getting a man who is already stable, is cheating. You should take Ray Ray from the projects, who has hated his mother and has abandonment issues about his father, long before you came on the scene, and accept personal responsibility for his hardships and yours. Instead of helping black women heal from her own hurts and wounds, she is told not to use them as, quote, excuses, end quote, effectively diminishing those factors that contribute to how she understands and reacts to the world. Kind of like telling a person with chickenpox not to use the virus as an excuse for having unsightly lesions on your skin or itching that is caused by that virus. It's okay to know you have a virus, but you have to be in denial of its effects on you. The black community is laden with many ailments: high poverty, high incarceration, sexual depravity, absence of fathers in the home, absence of husbands in families, the absence of loyalty and longevity between partners, and the epidemic of children being raised by outside agents like peers and government programs. But good news, this is all the black woman's fault. No one has failed her, but she has failed everyone. She lacks nurturing. She isn't soft. She isn't vulnerable. She doesn't throw away discernment and assume that the masculine principle is perfect in his judgment, intention, and abilities. She isn't a silent accomplice in everything he wants and needs. She seems to have somehow gotten it into her head that the man should not be alone, that her voice and her active engagement in their shared objectives and function as the reflection of his best self and mantic purpose is actually part of her reason and design. Roe is selling ideas. I get that. The population that is in pain will take poison even if a population that is in pain will take poison if it can be convinced that it prevents, relieves, and cures that pain. We need only to look at the number of people who vaccinate and sign up for experiments and participate in clinical trials, because hope is a dying people's last resort. Roe is a virus attaching itself to women with an already compromised immune system. She is exploiting the pain and sincerity of men and women and profiting off of the people's internal defense systems being down and in want of repair. Hebrew women will have to think about why they are attracted, if they are attracted to this. Symptoms of other melanated women, like support of the LGBT et al. Community, are not symptoms that Hebrew women generally share. Whether or not we decide to be the placebo group in the social experiment is completely up to us. Whether or not we want to mix the secular with the sacred in how we construct our gender identities, our marriage and relationship models, is a decision that is only ours to make. In the coming days, Emunah and I will address many of the selling points of this doctrine. Make no mistake, its secular packaging does not change the fact that it is the same old doctrine of blaming the feminine principle and exculpating the masculine principle. You are encouraged to reach out to us and let us know what talking points you find most problematic or most compelling. I'm going to include the links in this thing when I upload it on the links to our Facebook pages so that you can actually contact us. So thanks for listening. Shalom, family.